Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the vast and ominous Comic Vault. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is Austin, the Day Ghost.
How's it going, everybody?
Austin, I'm excited to be back talking comics with you, man. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I feel like it's been because what was the last thing we did? I guess Wonder Woman. So it's been a little bit.
Wow, has it been that long? That's wild.
I think so. I mean, we did like a request on comics, but
That's
like in terms of our back and forth.
So the actual last technical vault was, what was that request?
White Knight.
I'm blanking.
Curse of the White Knight.
That's what it was. Curse of the White Knight, right. So we did that a couple weeks ago. But you're right, our back and forth, it's been a while. I have bought issues of that Wonder Woman run since we reviewed it.
Well, I went to a convention and I bought a shirt with that first cover on it.
Oh, cool. I think you showed me that.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Of course, I've been talking comics a lot with Chris, and you some. You're starting to come into that show a little bit on Comic Book Late Night Unlimited. And quick plug for that, the new episode of that will be tomorrow night. We're always talking about issues that are coming out this week and stuff we bought the previous week, and we review stuff there too, but we do more truncated, ostensibly non-spoiler reviews there. And here we deep dive, go ad nauseum, and talk probably twice or three times as long as we need to about every series we end up covering here.
Yeah, any given thing, really, at the end of the day.
So we're back to DC. And Austin and I feel like have both just been on a giant DC kick. I'm having a hard time getting excited about going to Marvel stuff right now. Nothing against old Marvel. I haven't been super happy with him in like the last decade. But I don't mean to act like I never want to talk about Marvel stuff, but I've been on such a DC high because that's what got me back into new comics. And honestly, Austin, even before that, I think the both of us kind of reading more DC stuff than Marvel stuff.
Yeah. Well, so I was like deadlocked on what my next one would be, and then today after reading this, I was like, you know what? There's another thing I want to do at some point that is like at this exact same time, and I'm like, I could do that instead. It might depend. I'll see, but that would jump us back to Marvel if I did that.
Okay. Well, I mean, variety is good.
Yeah, I mean, neither of them are DC, so.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you went okay. So it wasn't what I was thinking. I guess that wouldn't be the same time. That'd be like I don't know, 5 or 6 years before this. I thought you might go to Vigilante because I know you've been reading some Vigilante.
No, I have been reading that, and there's a big thing in this that's really funny. Like having just like been reading that stuff. Well, I'll bring up when we get there. But
this is
yeah, I've been really enjoying that stuff.
This is definitely not that far away from that vein. And it's like that pocket of DC, and I remember thinking about Vigilante a little bit when I first read this. Not that I read a ton of that, but I bought a few issues of that when I was a kid, and have started gap filling it. But I haven't read it. I now haven't read as much of it even as you have, probably.
I mean, I'm only a couple issues in. Like, it's not like I'm like super steamrolling through it, but because I've been reading like other stuff, like new issues and whatnot.
I assumed. So, okay. I assumed you were a few. You're like a whole story arc or two in.
No, I'd say I'm probably like 5 or 6 issues in. So I guess kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like issue to issue, so it's not really like that.
At that point, you've definitely read more Vigilante than I have. But I bought more than that. Anyway, so tonight, Resurrection Man. So you took us just post-Crisis last time with Wonder Woman. Now we're going to jump about, I don't know, a decade after that, and we're going to cover Resurrection Man.
Yeah, been over a decade.
Yeah, which starts in 1997. This is Abnett and Lanning, who, of course, did lots of different series together. Most notably, like probably the biggest, most influential thing, of course, is their Guardians of the Galaxy run. They kind of created what we think of as the modern Guardians, and that's a lot of what Gunn is going to when he's adapting for screen. But they have several other series together, and then, oh, is that a dog?
Yeah, it's my mom's dog. I did not expect him to just get right in the camera like that.
Hearing me talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, he was like, ooh, there's a dog
He's
in
like,
there.
oh, I want to know about that. Yeah, tell me more about Cosmo.
Let's talk about Cosmo. There's no
He's
dog in
mad
this
they made
book.
Cosmo a girl in the movies. He's like, oh,
How dare you? Why do we have to gender flip everything?
exactly.
So, anyway, Abnett and Lanning have, I think, broken up now. I don't know if they ever do anything together anymore. I know,
Yeah, I think they have broken up.
I know Abnett is still. I still see his name around. I don't know if Lanning's doing anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I see Abnett here and there. Like I know he did Aquaman during like Rebirth, I
Oh,
think, like
was that
around
him?
that
Okay.
period. I think so. He might not have started at Rebirth, but like around that time, he was doing that.
So this was probably my introduction to Abnett and Lanning, or at least the first thing that I noticed their name on that I had read, and I was like, "Who are these guys? This is interesting." So I've talked this book up some. It comes up occasionally on the channel because I'm the only person I know that has ever read this. And it's in its way kind of a special series for me just because I discovered it without ever having heard of it, and I was just kind of fascinated by the premise. And it's one of those like little smaller, almost I can't say underground because it's DC and it's like mainline continuity DC, but it's a real like CD list kind of series. Didn't last a real long time. It did get 27 issues. So I guess it sold well enough not to get dropped off at 12, and it's now come back a couple of times, but there's only ever like 6 people looking at it. It's kind of crazy that it's ever even returned. Abnett and Lanning did the New 52 run, and then when it came back a third time for Black Label, that's a completely different set of creators, and I forget who those guys are, but I've read almost half of that, and it's great what I've read of it, and I definitely want to review that down the line. But anyway, this is a special thing to me because I think a lot of us have this with different things, Austin, be it comics or movies or TV, but where you discover a small thing that you don't hear anybody else talking about, and you develop this kind of like personal ownership of it, where it's like that's my weird random off the beaten path thing. And so I talk about this like I'm a mega fan of it. I haven't read it in a long time, and I've never even finished the New 52 run. So I'm not an expert with this. I don't and like I've got to reread the whole thing to even remember a ton about it. But it's more like the experience I had with it that makes me a fan of it. I read it back in '04. And I've not read the whole series since then. I've gone back to the first couple issues a few times, and then just never gotten any further. But I bought this in a collection, and the first big collection I bought out, which is also partly why it's nostalgic for me. And I was just kind of captivated by that cover and then that premise, and read the whole thing all the way through, and I've hung on to those. That was a collection I sold a lot of, but that was one of the series that I kept. So anyway, that's why this matters to me, and why I picked it for this week, and why I've meant to review it forever. I did the first issue once years ago, or like 3 years ago, but I've never talked any further about it. And now I've made Austin read it. So Austin is now the second person that I know that has read any Resurrection Man.
Yeah, exactly. And I like instantly first scene was like, okay, I get why Cap likes this, because it's Spawn if it had a writer.
That's it. That's exactly right. It's another one of those,
Yeah.
Austin. It's Spawn handled a lot better than Spawn.
Mhm.
And it's got a lot of
Yeah,
those same
exactly.
hallmarks, right? Like, it's a guy back from the dead. He's got amnesia. He's slowly getting his memories back. He's learning the rules of his powers and of his origin, and how he came back gradually over time. There's a lot of stuff that he hasn't got. There's a wife that he comes back for, but that's kind of a twist. It's kind of flipped from Spawn. In some ways, it feels like almost a riff on Spawn, although I don't know that Abnett and Lanning are thinking about that at all. And there's not any hell mythology.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised like if they weren't looking at that like at all, because that was
so
a
would
pretty
I.
huge book, and I feel
Well, this
like
is the
there's
year
an
that movie
element
comes
of
out.
yeah, exactly. No, I do feel like there is an element of them going, oh, this kind of sucks. Everybody loves it. Like this is how you make it work.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And again, like you said, it's not a direct ripoff in that. Like it's not like the hell stuff, like you said. But like there's enough there that I would say they had to have been thinking about it.
Yeah, he doesn't, or I say he. You've got a pair of writers here. They don't go to uh, the occult stuff at all, and so it's spawned through a more science fiction lens. We got a pseudoscience lab experiment gone wrong. You know what this really is, Austin? It's spawned by way of uh, Stephen King's Firestarter.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I didn't have that thought, but you're absolutely right.
And it's also very Firestarter in that it's a guy that was experimented on, gets powers, and then the people that did it to him are chasing him down.
Hmm.
And so even
Yeah,
in its
exactly.
like not even just in the origin, even in the premise of the story, it's very Firestarter. It opens a lot like Firestarter. It's a road trip thing at the start.
Hmm. Yeah, and then you have issue 6, which is one of the weirdest just single issues of comics I've ever read. And I'm not saying that in a negative or positive way. We'll get there. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
very amusing, but where it goes from exactly what you're describing to a Tarantino movie for one issue.
Oh, you think so? I'm excited to hear you
Oh,
talk about that.
100%.
Okay, I didn't have that
100%.
thought.
I also saw elements of what their guardians will be and the way it's like weaving in and out of what's happening in the overall world too.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't that kind of refreshing to go back to? Like a period when Big Two Comics gave a crap about their overall continuity and remembering what's happening in other books. Why, like, it's really nice to go back to that stuff.
Well, it made me wonder because there's like 8,000 tie-ins in their Guardians run, even though it's like 25 issues. It made me go, okay, was that because I always that was a mandate thing of like, okay, here's all these things you have to tie into it, and now I'm like, oh, is that just what they do? Like they're just fans of what's going on, so like they purposefully bring that in and kind of weave it into what they're doing. It did make me kind of like reflect on that a little bit
Yeah,
differently.
that's interesting. But
Hmm.
DC, especially at this time, and I think Marvel was decent at it in certain books and with certain writers and certain editorial, but I think there was a good decade and a half where DC was the better company at keeping track of what was happening in each book, and if you were going to use somebody from one series this week, or you're gonna like snap over to what's happening somewhere. It was actually keeping track of everything, and so if you happen to be reading that other book, like if you're looking at JLA right now at this period, it connects decently well to what's happening. Or at least it looks
Hmm.
like that book. Like it's that team, and it's that dynamic. Like what we're able to see of it from afar, and I don't know. I always appreciate that extra effort.
Yeah, well, and that issue specifically has that little footnote at the beginning that's like, just so you know, this is before the current Wonder Woman arc. And it
Yeah.
made me go like, oh, like what's going on over there right now?
Well, yeah, I don't know. My guess is she's either not with that team, or she's like sucked out to another planet or another dimension or something right now and couldn't be here.
maybe
And
that's
so
the maybe that's the Taco Bell period. That would be like
no,
I think that
that's
is in the 90s.
isn't that a little earlier? Maybe it is at that
It
period.
probably is earlier, but
Dan Schneider just put in a $5 super chat and says it seems like a million different things are spawned if it had good writing. That is true, including '90s Ghostwriter. I feel like that is a recurring theme on this show. Yes, but of course, I devoted 2 years of my life to that, so I'm hypersensitive and see it everywhere. And I probably sometimes overread that. I'm not with this.
no, because I had that a ton. Like I was reading it and going, oh, this is very Spawn.
And you got to keep in mind that, like Austin said, this is only 4 years after that starts, and it's like, or I guess 5, and it's ultra popular and in the zeitgeist right then. So I mean, like that's the, and also keep in mind that we're in gritty street level, more adult land, and so everything is being compared to Spawn right then.
One very specifically, and this is at both the big two. There's a lot of just different creators reacting to the image people as well. If I pick my Marvel thing, we will see some of that.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of that. Sorry, there was a comment that I wanted to
That's okay.
respond to. Somebody mentioned. Oh yeah, Goofster123. This is a point I wanted to make, so I'll read this real quick. That this hasn't been made a TV show at some point as a war crime. I completely agree with that. I've always said that Resurrection Man is an obvious television premise, and it's wild to me that we've had not one, but and this is also a thing I've never heard anyone talk about that they've seen, and I haven't either. But there is not one but two TV attempts at Human Target, which is a real tiny DC comic that nobody cares about, but was a pretty clear, obvious TV premise, so it was adapted. And that character was even in Arrowverse and was yet a third iteration. So, like, it's nuts how much of that happened, but Resurrection Man has never been tried. It's such a clear TV premise. Every episode he dies, he gets another power. Like, that could go 8 seasons.
This is DC's Incredible Hulk. Like, that's your format.
Definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's Highway to Heaven. He, goes on these little adventures every episode.
And even though we've got clear story arcs here and issues don't exactly stand alone, it is kind of fun that it's a little bit episodic in that issue to issue we do tend to get at least one different power, and it's kind of fun that sometimes he'll hang on to a power like over issues, and sometimes he'll die over and over again, and you'll see like 3 or 4 powers in one issue. Like there's a really nice variety with how Abnett and Lanning are handling this concept power wise, and it's kind of interesting what it does to the pacing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Because I assumed, it would be okay. Each issue, like we're gonna do. This is the power of this issue, and like pretty quickly, we're already breaking out of that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel super formulaic.
No, exactly.
It would be if it was a TV show.
Fun with that.
Probably.
Yes.
It'd be real quantum.
Which could be fun at the same time.
Yeah. No, it could. Or you could even do like, it's a 2-parter where he's gonna hang on to that power. Over the next episode.
Exactly.
But
then he gets a new one at the climax, so it's like, he actually did have 2 powers over this 2-parter.
I think it's really fun that it opens with him having the obvious power.
Mm-hmm.
Where like he's flying at the start and then immediately dies and loses that, and I think that's pretty fantastic. And then after that, I think Abnett and Lanning get really creative with power sets, and that's one of the fun things in reading this book is just wondering what the next one's going to be, and kind of every time he dies, he's rolling a d20, and he could end up with something really useful or something kind of lame, or later on we'll get into powers that are much more of a curse than a power. He'll sometimes get something that makes it kind of harder for him to die, but is a power that makes his life a lot harder, so he wishes he could die, but he can't. And so he's like waiting for something to kill him. And so the dynamics of that are always is really fun. Like I feel like this, and it's ironic because there's so little of this character because it just didn't catch on. It wasn't real popular, but I like the versatility of this concept where the sky's the limit. There's so much you can do with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I had this image in my head because I'm like, okay, like Gunn is running DC, and I had this like very specific image in my head of like what he would do with it, and I had this scene where it was he's got to like fight some people, but he can't. He's got like a useless power. So he's got like a knife. He's got to like kill himself and like hope that he rolls that d20 better. Like he's got to like keep doing it to get a better power. And I'm like, I feel like I can see that as like a thing that you would do in a show with this.
Again, this because this isn't very popular, and I don't know if Gunn. I mean, Gunn knows his comics. I don't know if he's heard of Resurrection Man or has ever read it. If he has heard of it, I mean, given that he adapted Guardians and he knows about Abnett and Lanning, like it's fairly. It would surprise me if he'd never at least heard of Resurrection Man, but it makes me wonder if he would ever greenlight such a thing. I think it would fit real well in his wheelhouse. Not that he has to be the one that makes it, but I've said this from the beginning. I want somebody to give him a really good HBO Max pitch, because I think that's the place to do this. And I think this should be in that
absolutely.
slate eventually. But like Resurrection Man's at the top of my list of stuff I want to see them attempt.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that makes a ton of sense. I think what we have here, like, you just have like a season of television right here.
Just these 6
in terms
issues.
of like the streaming model, like this is your season of television right here.
Absolutely, yeah. It would be kind of bookended nicely. Like you've got the body doubles, the hot chicks that are bounty hunters that come in and wreak havoc at the start, and then they kind of disappear through most of the show, and then they come back with a vengeance at the end. Like you can really see the structure of how you'd handle that in a TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could also see that just being the first 5, and like maybe they rope them more into that end climax there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, you could do that too.
Well, the only reason I threw 6 in here was because it gives us at least some hints about the origin, about how he gets his powers. Because if we only read the first 5, it'd
Yeah.
be too much of a mystery about like whether it was a scientific experiment or what exactly it gave him that. So, like
I think it makes sense to do 6 here.
it's really like 2 story arcs in the start of the next one, but 6 is kind of a standalone issue, and then if memory serves, they're gonna do at least a couple, if not a few, sort of one and dones after this. So like issue 7 is Batman. He'll go to Gotham and he'll deal with Batman, and then I think even the next issue is maybe a one and done. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah, I figured Batman had to be in the next issue because
Yeah, well, you see on the cover.
issue 6 ends with it
You know,
ends with him going to Gotham. So I'm like, we're doing Batman next issue.
you gotta start throwing major characters on the covers to try to get people to actually buy this. You got to do that.
Of course.
I give them a lot of credit for not putting, for not having like a giant JLA cover for the second issue, but it does say JLA on it, so they're in there. Maybe you'll buy it, but it's not like
Yeah.
Although that would have been a cool cover, like if you'd had them fighting a Mazo with Resurrection Man just kind of sitting off to the side, going like, I don't know what to do this big battle.
Oh, you frame the cover like that imp scene in Superman, where it's like Resurrection Man's the foreground, and just in the background you can see the JLA.
Oh yeah, that's good
fighting
too.
Mazo. Yeah.
That it turns out that's the one issue I'm missing.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
So when I first read these, I guess I skipped 2. So it's possible I never read 2 until today, reading it in digital. I don't even remember that. But I couldn't find it, and I looked it up in my database, and it's also missing in my database. So my assumption is I don't have a copy. So I got to find it. These are cheap. Like I can get that for $2. It won't be a big deal. But it turns out I don't have one. This is not interesting to anybody.
Yeah, they have 0 ratings. You can get them for any price.
Guns Resurrection Man would open with the opening credits that's this is a person who died.
Yes, exactly.
And then instead of watching a bunch of people die, we just watch him die over and over again. But I want that opening montage of deaths. I think that'd be so cool.
That'd be great.
Like he
Let's
dies
hear your
20
intro.
times and he comes back with a different power every time, and
That is your intro, is just like him dying like over and over, and there's like a bunch of him falling, and they all like pile up and make the logo of the show. That's your
good.
like theme intro.
Bob the Hunt put in a $5 super chat and says, apparently Spawn really badly riffs off Ghost Rider, and if you've ever read it, it will ruin Spawn for you. There's very little of it left that you like about it. Yeah, and I've never bothered with Ghost Rider because I've heard that in the 80s into the 90s, it has even some of the same problems Spawn does, where it's apparently really inconsistent in its continuity and its world building. I've not read it, so I can't speak to that, but I've got a couple of friends that have read a lot of Ghost Rider, and that's what people have always told me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of just kind of things shifting and changing.
But there's more of an excuse in Ghost Rider because part of that, I'm sure, is because of changing creative teams. Spawn's got no excuse. It's one guy, except for the lore that he let other writers build in one issue and then promptly retconned.
Yeah, exactly. No excuses there.
But anyway, let's get a little bit further into this. I'm dying to know just overall, just more broadly, how Austin felt about this story, his introduction to Resurrection Man.
I liked this quite a bit. I thought it was a pretty fun book. I could tell it was the same guys that wrote Guardians, just in their kind of comedic sensibilities, but at the same time, it's a very different voice to that. It was cool seeing them do a more like grimy street level thing, like you said. And everything with his powers is really fun. I like the kind of issue to issue thing, and then we have kind of in the middle of this, we have a full story with his wife, and it made it feel a lot bigger. I thought issue 2 with the JLA, I thought that was really cool, having this giant Justice League battle in the background, and he's just like there saving like 6 people.
Yeah.
I thought just that whole thing was really cool. It was a really neat way of doing this, small time hero thing. Yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. And then, like I said, issue 6 is bizarre because then it becomes a Quentin Tarantino movie. But it was fun.
I thought it was so funny when he says, I'm this like small time player. I'm not in the same league as the Justice League." And now, to be fair, that is just after he dies and gets a new power, but just before that, the power he had was pyrokinesis, and I could not help but think in Magneto's accent, "You're a god amongst insects. Never let anybody tell you different."
The power he's got during that.
Well, no, he's already died at the point that he says that, though. He
says it after?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by that point, he's got the empathy.
Well, yeah.
He becomes Mantis.
What's weird is he says I'm not in their league, but he stops Amazo for them. And both powers he has during that period, if he could hang on to them, would be Justice League level powers. You can control fire, and you can use all of the tense and negative emotions of people around you to almost physically manifest into an attack. Yeah, that's a Justice League level power.
I don't know, because the way I thought it played, with the pyrokinesis, it seemed like it was very kind of small, where there's fire all around him, and it's not like he's removing the fire from the building. He's just kind of moving it around so he can walk through and stuff like that. And then the empathy
maybe he'd get better at using it if he had it longer.
And the empathy thing is so situational, but I got the sense that he could only destroy Amazo because he was surrounded by all the civilians in their town had just been completely destroyed. So I was in this one moment, he's godlike. After this?
Yeah. And I'm not saying he'd be full on godlike, but there are places, but also just remember, Aquaman, there are lots of situations he's not all that helpful. But anyway,
he's at least strong.
Yeah. But with the empathy thing, there are a couple of scenes in the next issue where there aren't a whole lot of people around, and he's still able to do that, yell real loud and I liked this visually, manifest an onomatopoeia word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is really cool.
And basically knock everything over with that word. I thought that was neat.
But all he does after that is he knocks over a teenager by yelling. So I'm okay, this is more of what this power would look like normally.
When I first read this, I was a little surprised it wasn't a Vertigo book. Because premise-wise and even the look of it, it looks real 90s Vertigo to me. And I really kind of questioned whether it ought to have been in mainline DC. And going back to it, I'm really glad it was handled that way, because I think this is an idea is a lot more interesting in a world with a bunch of superheroes that have powers and with characters that are already familiar with and used to superheroes, and seeing like how this guy fits in and if he can at all live up to that. And it's more interesting because we haven't gotten into the amnesia of it all, but it's interesting because he's a guy who, now that he's died and come back to life and has these powers, is trying to help people, and that's like his main motivation now. But as a lawyer, he was kind of an awful person, and he was making like dirty deals with the mob just to get back at his father, and he was like intentionally amoral because his father was an ethical lawyer but didn't have any time for his son, and so just to stick it to his dad, he was the most unethical lawyer possible. And so in his new life, he is trying to be a good person, but even before he knows all of that, and I think in a world with a bunch of altruistic superheroes, having this more gray area, like really interesting philosophical question of, can he is he even the same person he was before, and is he destined to come back to that? Maybe that's more interesting in the DC universe.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you could probably have your cake and eat it too. Like, there are a couple of Vertigo books that are in continuity. I
That's
was
true.
also pretty surprised that this wasn't Vertigo, because it did feel like that. I agree 100%. And I think I got to the end of the first issue before I realized it wasn't Vertigo, where I went back and went, oh, like it's not in that imprint at
I
all.
did
Okay.
exactly the same thing when I first read it.
Yeah, because it very much feels like that. Also, you mentioned the lawyer thing, and that's the big thing that was funny for me today reading this, having just read a bunch of Vigilante,
Hmm.
is their relationship is exactly flipped from the second issue of Vigilante, because he's a lawyer in the comics, and he's an ethical lawyer, and his dad is like a greedy lawyer that gets all these criminals off the streets,
Oh,
and
interesting.
he's like, son, join me. Like, this is how you make money. And he's like, no, like, I believe in justice. This is what I do.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. It's just flipped,
And that's weird a
but it's
few
the
years
same
apart.
relationship.
And then you got to wonder if these guys read that at all, and like if they're intentionally flipping
Yeah,
that, or if they're just not even aware of it.
yeah. I'm not sure how big that book is, because it goes something like 55, 57 issues, but like, I don't know how big it actually was. Like, it could have just sold well enough to keep going. And
Hmm.
it was Wolfman who was also doing Teen Titans, and sometimes they give you a little bit more free room when you're doing like one of the biggest books at the
Yeah,
company.
to just do the thing you want to do, even if it doesn't have a big base. Just because something goes for
Exactly.
50, 80, even 100 issues doesn't mean that it had a giant base. Like you said, sometimes
Exactly.
it's just enough. Like if you have a loyal, dedicated, okay, it's consistently the same numbers every month. We'll keep publishing it until you're finished with it, and especially with a writer that editorial gets along with,
Mhm.
because Asriel is like that. Like that first Asriel book went a
Yeah.
real long time. You can't tell me that had a huge readership. And like I said, I kind of put books like Vigilante and even Hitman in kind of the same category as a Resurrection Man.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'd love to know the story behind why this didn't go any longer than it did. Like, did it get canceled, or did these guys decide to leave for some reason? Because that would have been not too long before they went to Marvel.
Hmm. Well, I think it's interesting too. It's only 2 issues longer than their Guardians run,
Oh, is that right?
so it's almost the exact length too.
Yeah, and
But I assumed it was canceled, but I don't know that for sure. It might
I
not
don't
have
know if
been.
Guardians was canceled.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's books, that we think of as big ones that do get canceled. Like Ostrander Suicide Squad is a book that gets canceled. You know,
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah, because retroactively, you see the influences later and how important that book is. But as it's going, like, how big of a deal was Alan Moore's Swamp Thing while it was going? Like, I assume that sold well.
Yeah, well, and that goes on for a while, so I would think, and that's a big Vertigo book too. Is that flips to Vertigo partway through?
Yeah.
Uh, so
Oh,
like I would
that's
think that
right.
it's doing pretty well. Yeah, because that's one of those books that starts before Vertigo and then gets like grandfathered in to that imprint.
Dan Schneider asks if this book is R rated. I kinda, and what's that's part of what's interesting about it being in continuity is it goes to darker places than very much would without some kind of parental guidance label on the front. And I'm kind of surprised that this goes as far as it does and isn't a Vertigo book. Um,
See, and I was gonna say I actually think one of the best things about this book is that like I wouldn't say it's like an R-rated one, but it pushes
yeah,
at the at the line. So I feel like if you're a kid, you probably read this and you're like, "Whoa, like this is so like crazy and out there."
yeah.
While as an adult now, I'm reading it and going like, "Oh, okay, like it's cool the ways in which you're implying things and not showing it, so it feels rougher than it actually is."
Mhm.
I thought they do a really good balance of that.
No, I agree with that. There's just a couple of things that push it to almost R, especially just relative to what DC will usually publish, not around an imprint. Like, now I say that there is occasionally some surprisingly rough subject matter in Batman comics. For instance, in this period and 10 years before, but I'm thinking particularly in issue 6 with the guy with the grenade in his mouth and just the that nightclub and that whole situation. I'm not even saying
That
that's
that whole nightclub is just
it's
strange.
very strange. I'm not even saying that's super rated R, but just like with the kind of BDSM imagery and stuff, like in 1997, 98, that would usually get you a parental sticker. I was a little surprised by it.
Yeah, with that, I was more like, oh, Abnett and Lanning are freaks. There's a thing with that, and then later on, or before that, sorry, I think
Yeah.
like an issue before that, we cut to Resurrection Man's ex-wife, and she's in bed, and there's like no context given, anything like that. We just cut to them, and she's in like a weird slave Leia outfit. And I almost sent that exact panel to you, and I was like, "Oh, Abnett and Lanning are freaks." And then I got to issue 6, and I was like, "Oh no, they are capital F
They're really
freaks."
freaks. Yeah. Yeah, they were probably later on. They're probably fans of the Gotham TV show. They're that level of freaks.
Oh no, they're beyond that. They're going to some parties.
So I didn't even notice what she was wearing because I was too distracted by the fact that uh, Mitch's backstabbing former partner, who is sleeping with her now, is wearing the mascot superhero costume for Soder Cola, and he has a, I think, like, lying throwaway explanation for why he's wearing that. He just says like they came back from a costume party or something. But I'm assuming that's like weird, kinky, like sex roleplay. It's the only thing I can figure.
It's got to be, yeah. The one I'm talking about is after that,
Oh, is it
but
really?
yeah, it's literally one panel. It's one panel that she's there, and she has that outfit, and she's got like a weird veil thing on her face. It's very strange.
Well that suggests that they're doing an amusing like ongoing gag with that, where even with like Mitch Shelley back from the dead, they're dealing with all this. They still can't help but do like a bunch of weird kinky bedroom stuff, and you've even got that weird scene where they start making out in the middle of all the madness, and then the crooked cop guy is like, "Okay, get a room, you two." Like,
Well, what I love about it is that she like pulls him in, and she's like, "Kiss me," and he's like, "No, not in front of him." And then the next panel is the cop guy being like, "Hey, stop it! I don't want to see that."
so we are in a very specific period for DC here because we've got blue costume Superman.
Yes, yeah, we got Superman Blue.
Electric
Yeah,
Superman.
some of that comedic stuff was when I was like, oh, okay, these are the guys who wrote Guardians, like, and are very just kind of goofy. Like,
Yeah.
there's some of that bleeding in. It's just a very different kind, obviously.
Yeah, there's a fun balance with the ways in which this is serious and the ways in which it's really absurd.
Mhm.
Like it's not even super serious and dark and then there's some occasional levity. Like it's a goofy book with some pretty serious subject matter. And that's one of the
Mhm.
things I most enjoy about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like a lot of good comics know exactly where that balance is, where you can have really heavy subject matter, but also really silly things. Like, one of the books I was going to for that is Ostrander Suicide Squad, where you can have like deep conversations about like uh, sexual assault and things like that in that book, and then at the same time you'll have like a running joke where somebody's throwing pies at people at the prison. Like, it's you
Yeah.
know, and it somehow finds how to make that work, and like it never conflicts with each other as you're reading it.
Yeah, and I feel like despite some of the goofiness, this is a character that is like pretty likable and relatable, and I find pretty easy to get invested in. It's
Mhm.
again, it's sad that he's remained such an obscurity because I think he is instantly a real original and good original character and good addition to the DC slate of characters. Like, there's nothing generic about this guy.
No, it's a really interesting idea, to the point where I was kind of like, I'm shocked that this is only 97. Like, this feels like this would have come up earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's kind of one of those where it fits in so oh my God, I can't speak. Effortlessly.
yeah.
There we
It
go.
fe- it feels like it should have come out more around the Suicide Squad or Vigilante. Like it feels like a in 89, 90,
An 80s
91.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking that as well. Like, it feels very much in that time.
It's almost
And
like, and I'd love to talk to one of these guys and get the background on this because it it could have been an idea that one or both of them had under their hats for a long time and they just finally got it published. This does read like one of those. This was in a drawer for a while and they finally were able to get it made.
oh, sure. Yeah.
Never even had that thought until you said that. But it feels
Like the
late.
type of thing that you're workshopping a character for so long, and then you
Yeah.
finally get to do it.
And Spawn
Yeah.
was like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true too. It probably was.
But you're right, it feels very late.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. It feels like one of the, kind of last big additions. Big, but you know what I mean.
Another thing that's kind of fun, I well for me, like I, real memorable like additional character, and then we go a lot of years where there's not a ton of those,
Mhm. Yeah.
particularly
Yeah, no,
DC.
eventually you get to that point where nobody's giving the companies anything.
Yeah, and rightly so. We've talked about that a lot.
Mhm.
I but real quick, I'm just reminded of this because of this Soda Cola cover. But one of the things that's fun about having this in mainstream continuity also are the little kind of like background world building things. Like he comes from the town where they make Soda Cola, so like uh, that's a DC branded cola that shows up in a lot of stuff before this. And Big Belly Burger comes up in this also. But
Mhm.
he's actually from the small town that cola is originally made in. So you see advertising for it everywhere. And again, the mascot costume and all of that. So it's real like deep rooted in DC stuff. And there's also a bit of uh, how do I want to put it? There's also a bit of I don't want to say like who's who in DC, but like kind of going around and just seeing different pockets of it. And we'll do that throughout the series. He's got a big Supergirl team up right at the end of the series. That I remember being interesting. And that's weird because like she gets angel wings for some reason. I can't remember what that whole thing is about now.
Weird.
Yeah, but anyway, but we're doing a little bit of like sightseeing in the DC universe. So you've got the Justice League in just the second issue, and he hardly actually interacts with them. And then he will meet Batman later, but a couple issues after that, or maybe it's even 6, we get a real quick 1-page excursion to Apocalypse. We like the body doubles boom tube into Darkseid's realm, and they come back on the very next page.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that whole thing was very strange. No, and what was I going to say with that? Oh yeah, some of that reminded me, and obviously this eventually is taken out of the DC universe, but it reminded me of that first trade we did of Sandman, where you have like Batman and Martian Manhunter and people like that coming in and out of the book.
Yeah, just to kind of like ground it in the world this is all in, and it's that kind of old Stan Lee idea of if you're gonna get a lawyer, you get Matt Murdock. Like this kind of has that feel.
Yeah, well, and then in that last issue, because it's the doubles, it's entirely around them, and they're like a Tarantino couple driving around just doing crimes and stuff on their way to drop Resurrection Man off, and they just keep reacting to like a big DC event that was happening at the time. Where it's like, oh, did you hear this is happening? Ah, whatever. Like we got stuff to do.
Yeah, but it actually ends up being a big plot point in the issue too. That does end up really mattering.
And then they pop in, yeah, like you said, and then they like boom tube into Apocalypse for like a second.
Well, because whatever that event was, and I don't even know what they're talking about. It must have been something I didn't read. Like I don't even know what that was. But unless we're talking about different things, but I think the event they're talking about is whatever momentarily or like really temporarily takes away all the powers of all the metahumans, which ends up being a big plot point for Resurrection Man because the scientist guy that's after him gets his hands on him for a minute and then decides, oh, that's not actually who we're after because since everybody's powers are being taken away, he's not able to read the nanites. And that's just this like real blink and you miss it, like really important drop of information that what makes this possible is nanites. We just move on. Like it's so throwaway.
Okay, so I feel so dumb because I wasn't sure what event that was, so I was thinking of that, like trying to figure out what that was. But for whatever reason, when they were talking about that, I was thinking like, oh, they're grabbing the heroes and like taking their powers from them. And then when we got to that reveal at the end, I was like, oh, this must have something to do with the way he merged with Hooker 2 issues ago. So for whatever reason, that like did not input that it was the connection there. And now I feel really dumb because it's so obvious.
Oh, that's all right. There's just some sort of alien thing that it's just a conceit so that they don't have powers right then, and it's a real easy kind of throwaway way for Resurrection Man to get out of that situation. My issue with that kind of conceit, Austin, is if you poke at it too much, I start thinking about it and I want to know how it works, and it kind of breaks down, right? So if you just say there is like a comet or like some kind of big alien explosion that makes everybody lose their powers, I don't think about it at all. As soon as you go, it makes it so you can't detect nanites, I go, okay, what exactly causes all of these people's powers, no matter what gave them their powers, to disappear? Like, now I need that to make sense.
That was Darkseid. I assume that probably makes sense with whatever that event is. I just don't know what it is.
Maybe, but the problem is it makes it so that they can't detect the nanites. But you'd think that if he doesn't have his powers, it would be because the nanites are gone, but then as soon as whatever is causing that goes away, he'd get them back. So like that doesn't. So again, it's a conceit that just breaks down if you start touching it.
Yeah, I guess it's like a thing that it's like a wave that goes out, and as long as it's there, that stuff is just kind of muted, and then once it's gone, like it pops back in. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it mutes.
Comics are weird.
Whatever gives you your powers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I didn't really buy that, but it's a gimme until they start talking about it too much.
Yeah, no kidding. That is funny.
Bob the Hun had a $5 super chat and says there is a Frank Miller Daredevil where he chases a thug in an S&M club, which was long before this. Pretty sure some Batman comics also went there.
Yeah, probably.
I would just have to see the pages to know if it's as weird as this was, because this was pretty weird.
It was specifically that one guy is very strange.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's bizarre.
Or he's got like women's underwear and a grenade in his mouth, and that whole thing, to be fair, was supposed to be like ironically poetic because of horrible things he did to his stripper employees. And by the way, that's a place where it goes really dark.
Just the whole thing where he was abusing his stripper employees.
Yeah,
as you said.
Well, do you remember how awful that gets?
Well, he was like doing some stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah. So one of his stripper employees was pregnant and no one knew about it. And he beat her to the point where she has a miscarriage, and then it turns out that it was his baby and he did it on purpose and was going around bragging about how now he didn't have to deal with the brat she was going to deliver.
That's right. Yep. That's right. Yeah.
And then the very next panel, the body doubles drive away with a line connected to the
pin.
What am I trying to say? The pin for the grenade. Yeah, and then they blow him up, and that was fine with me at that point.
Yeah, that is pretty great.
So I'm saying, like, this book goes to some really dark places, and that's why when you say not quite R, for some subject matter stuff, I don't know about that.
No, that's just spoken. You're not seeing it.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I think that's part of what I'm talking about, where they're saying things that are making it feel worse than it actually is, but like you're not living in it.
No, I agree.
And it makes it feel.
But in 1997, and like I don't want to argue about this. I don't want to split hairs. But in 1997, I don't know that you could have a character have that speech and not give it an R.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd have to compare it to other books at the time, but I feel like we were doing dark comics that were going to places like that before then.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't have the comics code seal on it. That's for damn sure.
It's for damn sure.
Dan Schneider, so you're saying the strip club guy could have been Spawn. That is exactly what I'm saying.
No, he's the Violator.
No. He's talking about a specific plot point. In Spawn, when McFarlane retconned the origin.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking
Wanda
the same thing. But yeah, the Wanda thing. That's what he's talking about.
Abnett and Lanning are like, no, Todd, you do it to a different character and not your main character.
Well, what's funny is they did it before he did. I'm pretty sure that's not until like 99, 2000, maybe even a little later.
I figured it was after this because it's after the movie, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're right, because you have to get the Jessica Priest retcon in there before it can happen.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So we've got our, I don't know, probably arch nemesis in Hooker. Just in that he's like the bad guy version of Resurrection Man, and they were both in the the experiment, and we don't have a lot of information about what exactly happened yet, but all we know is Resurrection Man, Mitch Shelley, uh, got these powers that go along with not being able to die, and this guy can't be killed, but he didn't get the power set, and so he is obsessively after Resurrection Man to get his powers, and somehow knows, or at least thinks he knows, that he can get Mitch's powers by eating his heart, which interestingly will actually come back in Resurrection Man Quantum Karma, which just finished last week. But that idea is actually in that book.
Oh, okay, cool. I assumed that was the big thing going through this because that's another Spawn thing. Is because you see it. That's how he's introduced. Is he eats people's hearts?
Oh, that's true. He's Violator.
Yeah, exactly. He's got like the different colored word balloon because he's like a demonic guy too.
That's right. What a good point.
If this guy doesn't become a Black Lantern, what are we doing? Because like he feels like that kind of like death guy.
Well, and how are we? Like, I don't think we did. How did we not do stuff with Resurrection Man in Blackest Night? I mean, I guess it's just nobody read this book, but like that's the.
It should have been his story.
It's clearly the perfect thing to go to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing? What are you doing, Jeff Johns? Bring back Resurrection Man.
Get out of here with your Shazams and JSA. We need our Resurrection Man. Gosh darn it.
Well, and you could use Resurrection Man to play around with some of the ideas Blackest Night did in commenting on characters that won't stay dead. Like, this is before that was such the issue that it would be later.
Well, is there like a story with this where we try to like capture him to like recreate him to like make that a thing just to cure death, or have we not done that yet with this character? Because I feel like that's the obvious place to go at some point.
I'm just too rusty, so like I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know if they do that in this first run, and I doubt that they had the time to play around with that in the second run because it didn't last very long. But unless that was the story from the start, because I'm pretty sure that didn't go more than 12 issues.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the books that got shelved in the second set of New 52. So they canceled some books and then they added some new ones to get back to the number 52. And this was one of the books that was, or Resurrection Man was one of the books that was axed.
Is that them just kind of picking up where they left off, or is that like completely different? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure the body doubles are even in it, but I haven't read it in a long time. And like I said, I never finished it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I think Abnett is on a Guardians thing right now with that Imperial War or whatever at Marvel, but it's like a very different team.
Okay.
It's like the worst team ever.
Tyler Zayas says Resurrection Man is in an issue of Brightest Day, and I don't remember that at all. I'll have to go back and find that, because I read that, and I have all that.
I mean, that's cool. Maybe he just pops in for a guest appearance.
Yeah, because you'd think I would have freaked out and been really excited about that, and I don't even remember it happening.
He's just in the background. He just walks through a scene. Nobody comments on it.
I wanted to comment real quick on, now that we're looking at the treehouse, on the just really nice sense of continuity that Abnett and Lanning have in their own book. I gave this another quick once-over after I'd read it through, and I noticed on a second read that real subtly, blink and you miss it, an issue or two before he goes back to his childhood home and goes and accidentally destroys his treehouse with this amazing power that only, according to Austin, knocks over teenagers and destroys treehouses. There's actually a mention of the treehouse, like before we get to it.
Oh, okay. That is impressive. I mean, there's stuff, like obviously the flashbacks he's having where it's like very specific. Like we're gonna see how that ties in.
Right.
So it does seem like they are really good at that kind of building off of what they're doing and knowing where they're
They
going
know where they're
too.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take note, Todd McFarlane. Because
Yeah.
I complain all the time about Amnesia as a crotch, and so and it's sort of like time travel. Like I always talk about time travel like I don't like it, but then some of my favorite stories that handle it really well, I should say, when time travel is handled really well, it turns into some of my favorite stories because I think it's so hard to do. And I have the same thing with Amnesia. And
Mm.
so this is that handled really well. Now, it's maybe a little bit easy how he gets all of his memories back, but I'm mostly just saying that because I don't even really understand it yet. But at least it comes from a place and it isn't just teasing the audience for issues and issues and issues. Like, he is gradually getting some of his memories back just by going back to places and meeting people that the old Mitch Shelley knew. But then by issue, what is it, 4? Or 5,
Yeah, I think it's
he has
4.
kind of this weird mind meld thing that happens with Hooker where they have this bizarre connection that's not entirely explained yet. Hooker talks about it like they're blood brothers
Mhm.
from that experiment, and if they touch each other, they have this like mind, uh, this kind of like mind dump thing that happens with them, and so he gets all of his memories back from that.
Mhm.
It's kind of like
Yeah,
this
exactly.
weird telepathic thing that happens.
Yeah, no, that's easy. I mean, I guess it's nice that they don't hold it for too long, and like you do need that element in the story for certain plot points to work. And I don't mean that in just like, oh, we got to force that, but
Yeah,
the way that we do like everything with his ex-wife and whatnot, like you do need that element, and I think it plays more like that Wolverine kind of way where he was just in this experiment and
it's
his
very
memory's gone
Wolverine.
now.
Well, and he's got his own
Very
Weapon
Wolverine.
X.
Exactly.
You're right,
Exactly.
and I had that thought too. It works for the same reason that Wolverine does, because when we meet him, he's at least, even though he doesn't remember his previous life or very much about it, he's not a complete blank slate at the moment we meet him. And the
Yeah.
worst amnesia stories are when we go, well, we don't even need to develop this character because what's fun about it is the mystery of figuring out the origin and going backwards, but then you never actually build a character. It's hard to progress somebody who has no idea whatsoever who they are. And I think thematically and character wise, Austin, it's actually weirdly important to have the amnesia thing, not just for plot points, but because this is a rebirth and it gives you I was mentioning earlier, it's kind of the crux of the existential quandary with this. Is this the same person? So he dies. He comes back to life. He doesn't even realize how bad of a person he was in life, and he has like a tragic origin in how he dies. And I guess to the original Mitch Shelley's credit, he at least was like trying to get out of that life. It's sort of like a John Wick thing if it went wrong. Like he's trying to get out of that life, and then he's set up. If you haven't read this, he's set up by his wife and his old partner, where they blow him up in an explosion, make it look like an accident. But Austin, he kind of has a more traditional, almost superhero origin in his rebirth with the death of the girl who helps him at the start and kind of puts him on his path. Like in a weird way, like he's died, he's come back to life, and it's almost that like kid that loses their parent origin. Like obviously it's not exactly the same thing, but she is instrumental in setting him on a more altruistic path, and he even says he wants to live by her example. And so in a weird way, she's almost vaguely a mother figure for him.
Mhm.
And then she dies, and that sets him on a more heroic path. I and so we get a real clear kind of like second version of this character where he's not the same person he was before.
Hmm. Yeah, and that reminded me specifically of Escape from New York, where there's that moment where he walks into the store and he sees that woman that it's like, oh, this is going to be the female lead of the movie. And then she like immediately dies 3 seconds later, where I'm like, oh, this is, it's kind of love interest character, like person who's going to be with him. Oh no, she's dead. And then we introduce that insurance lady, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's gonna be the main female lead of this book. Oh, okay, she's out of this book now too. So they're really good at doing that, where it's like, here's these new characters, and oh, you think they're gonna stick around? Nope.
Yeah, it's
I
funny.
guess the insurance lady could come back, but
I'm pretty sure
the
she
way it
does.
ends, I don't.
I can't
Oh, okay.
remember. I think she's maybe sort of a sidekick character later, but
Okay.
it's
It
been
kind of
20
felt like it could
years.
go either way. Like she could either just completely disappear or maybe come back.
We at least didn't kill her.
No, she got out of there okay.
We're killing a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting jacked in this book, which makes sense. It is Resurrection Man. He himself is getting jacked a lot in this.
Well, of course he has to. That's a question with a character like this too. Austin is, do you sometimes feel like, in exactly the same way as characters get lucky, usually, especially in superhero stuff, but just in action things in general, that they survive everything because they're the main characters. Does it sometimes feel too easy that he'll die because he's supposed to die a lot? You know what I mean? Like, it is. And I think Abnett Lanning handled that fairly well. And I think there's also places where he'll die on purpose, or he's maybe not afraid to die because he knows he'll come back. But there are times where I'm like, okay, if this was Batman or Superman, they would easily escape the very thing that just killed Mitch Shelley, and the only reason he died is because that's his power.
Yeah, I thought it worked pretty well. I think it helps that he's just a guy, like he's not like a trained hero or anything. Because when it started, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, is this gonna feel too like, oh, he's gotta die because that's the premise. And then they also space it out well enough to, um, to a degree where it's not like I'm thinking about it in that formulaic way. Obviously, there's places where he dies kind of like that, but it makes sense for what's happening in the story. Like you have the whole bit where his ex-wife and partner find out that he's still alive, so they kill him, and then he gets back up, and they kill him again, and then he gets back up, and that crooked cop kills him, and then they bring him out to the woods, and he's still alive, and they kill him again. All of that was really amusing.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, all that stuff is great, and I was pretty shocked. They go to the battle royale, a Hateful Eight place where they poison him, and he just starts like spewing blood out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah, they're not scared of anything in this book. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's great.
I'm jumping around, but now that you're there, I did question whether he would be gullible enough to drink that wine.
I thought it worked because like he felt like something was up, but at the same time, it's a very weird situation. And I think what helps is that the awkwardness could entirely be that they're clearly hooking up, and
Oh,
now
that's
he's
true.
back. So it could just be like, oh, this is awkward. Like my husband just walked through the door, and I've kind of already moved on. Because initially that's how I was reading the scene, and then obviously it reveals that they're crooked. But I was like, I can buy that he still thinks that, even though I know more than he does at this point.
Yeah, well, if that's what it's supposed to be, I wish in his internal monologue we got something about his thing. Because remember, his whole thing is they're clearly afraid of me. Why are they afraid of me? And if he's thinking it's because they're shacking up and he's come back, I think the internal monologue needs to go all the way to they're afraid I'll find out, because all he says is they're scared of me. And that's
Yeah, I mean that's
what
not how
made
I
me
read
think
it,
it
but I
was.
can see what you mean. Like you could kind of pull that line through a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that was how it read to me, at least.
I'm not saying I thought he had very much of it figured out, but he is. It seemed almost like a spider sense thing, where it's like
Mhm.
something is like dangerous off here. But I'm
Mhm.
with you. I don't know if he would necessarily be suspicious of them to the point where he'd think they would poison him. But I did wonder about it.
Okay, I mean, yeah, fair enough. Like I said, that didn't really jump out at me. Like I thought that worked really well. Like I felt like I could track kind of where he was coming from, and just the like, his ex-wife comes to him after the shower and is like, "Oh, I got some extra clothes for you," and he's like, "Oh, that's weird." She's like being nervous around me, and these aren't even my clothes. What the heck? Like
Yeah.
they're a different man's clothes, because it's the partners. So I
Well,
think
and
that also helped, where it like kind of added like another element too for why it would be for like an affair, if you could even call
he
it
also
that.
doesn't have all of his memories back yet, so he doesn't know
Yes,
exactly what their marital dynamic was. And
exactly.
if he had all of his memories back, I would imagine he would know that their marriage was not the best.
Mhm. No, exactly, and that's one of the things where I think you need the amnesia
Hmm.
uh, from the character. Like you can't have any of that without that, and that's such a good twist where you find out that they're the ones that killed him. They almost do. It's like if Terry and Chapel were the same character in
Yeah,
Spawn. Like
yeah.
that's kind of how they flip the script there.
No, I really like that it's a twist on that where you've got this guy that all he wants is to get back to his wife, and then you find out that that wasn't a good situation
Hmm.
at all. Because not just with Spawn, the way we would usually play that is the beloved wife that he can't have again now, and oh no, his wife is like his worst enemy. Like that's who killed
Hmm.
him.
Yeah,
And you buy that he
exactly.
would marry somebody like that because of the kind of life he was living, and
Mhm.
that helps it not to read overly melodramatic. She and that guy are massively melodramatic. That is, those are soap opera villains. Totally soap opera
Yeah,
villains.
there are rated soap opera villains, and that they can also be freaks and deviants.
That's true.
Absolutely.
I'm showing panels of the scene where they kill him over and over again, and I think it's really funny that he turns into like a vampire, and then they kill him, and we have no idea what that power set was. I don't know what
Well,
he
what
was
I
gonna
love
do.
specifically about it is that he like comes up and he's got vampire teeth, and then the partner starts stabbing him repeatedly. It's great.
Somebody should have been like, "Get a wooden stake! Get a wooden stake!"
Well, it's like the Stoker novel with Dracula, where he gets killed by the Bowie knife at the end. It was like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's sweet.
And then he dies, and then he's got like a Terminator eye, and like I don't know what that was gonna be.
Yeah, the whole time I'm like, okay, what are like all the powers in
Yeah,
this whole thing?
it's great.
Maybe his Terminator eye is just so he can see, and he only sees in infrared now.
Yeah, that's a crap power. But that's the other thing that's sad to me about this not catching on and being a more popular book is it's just I know we've sort of said this already, but it's kind of an ingenious concept. Like it's fun to read about a guy who doesn't have the same power set all the way through. I can't really think of any other superheroes that have that.
Yeah, and with other superheroes, I feel like you get to that point where it's easier to get bored with. While this, you're always flipping the script, so like it's probably a book you can kind of stay on for longer if you like the character.
Yeah,
Whereas, say, like Superman or whatever, you're like, okay, these are the things that he can do. Like, this is what I have to work with. Like, I could see it becoming that point where you start to get formulaic with it. Where you're like, okay, well, this is how he's got to deal with a situation. He's Superman.
yeah. I mean, the thing that could get formulaic about this, if you're not careful, and Abnett and Lanning are just smarter than this, and they don't do any of this in their first arc, so you'd trust it. But what could happen is you'd kind of get that Richard Lester thing where he just gets whatever power he needs in order to solve the next problem that comes up. And it feels like they're pushing against that intentionally, where they go, what power, at least some of the time, what power can we give him that he'll be able to use to get out of a situation, but it won't be immediately obvious how that would help, and could maybe limit him in certain ways, but benefit him in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And they're using it in different ways, like the issue we're talking about with his wife and whatnot. Like, part of that, what's really cool about that is that's when he has the empathic abilities. So he's like extra picking up on like their weird emotional reactions. So it's like, oh, we're still playing with like what his power is this issue.
That's a great
just
point.
In a different way. It's not in an action way.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Mm-hmm. So no, they're really smart with how they're kind of handling all that stuff.
Tyler says that Brightest Day 13 is where he shows up, and it's literally a one-page cameo, so that's why I don't remember it.
Ah, okay.
Screw them for not giving him a role in that, because it's just it's right there.
Hooker needed to have been in Blackest Day.
In Brightest Day or Blackest Night? Which one? You just
Blackest Night.
You just shoved them together.
In both. In Blackest Day and Brightest Night.
Oh, that's the thing I wanted to mention.
No Bizarros will hear my fright.
I wanted to mention naming conventions because I hadn't had this thought until today, but I'm gonna assume that the last name Shelley is an intentional Frankenstein reference.
Yes, I had that like immediately when that popped up, specifically because you also have a first name that starts with an M. I was like 100% that has to be an intentional reference.
And the other naming convention thing I wondered about, and again, it's been too long since I've read this, and we don't have all the information yet, but I want to know if Hooker sold his body to science.
Probably.
Because if so, that name's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
he's also
probably what that is.
He's also no more like violator like in any moment in this book than when he comes in and he's like, oh, what is it he says when he bursts in the room where he's like looking for a hooker or something like that. He's got like a weird gag that he runs in with. And I was like, oh, this is a clown gag.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. That's part of what made me think of that naming convention thing where he walks in and he's like, did somebody order a hooker?
That's what it is, yeah.
And I was like, okay, like that's the obvious thing to say, but also we're doing something with this guy's name.
Mm-hmm. That's just such a weird name. Like 100%, that's what that is.
Yeah, Bob the Hun, we did talk about that earlier, but his former partner is dressed like a superhero because that's the mascot for Soder, for the Soder company. They have like a crappy superhero mascot costume. And
it's like Duff Man.
Yeah, exactly. And we're assuming he's wearing it because he was doing like sexy cosplay with Mitch's wife, who is now his girlfriend. It's not actually explained, but that's the assumption you have to make with that situation. I don't know why else he would be wearing that. He claims they came back from a costume party. That's obviously not what especially because when Mitch gets there, you the first thing you see that guy say is, "Are you about to come to bed?" And he's wearing that. Yes. So that's what it has to be.
And no time has passed when we cut back to them in bed and she's in the Slave Leia outfit. So 100% they have some sort of weird Slave Leia deaf man roleplay. I don't know what that is and I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm really glad that is vague and left off panel.
Deaf man is killing Java. Oh yeah.
Did you find Hooker's dialogue a little bit tedious? Like, he talks a lot, and there's not a lot to this guy yet.
Not especially. No, this is a pretty wordy book, but I didn't think it really jumped out at me as, like, aggressively so. No, he's definitely, like, very talky, and he just kind of rambles on.
Yeah.
But I thought it worked for, like, that kind of weird...
Well, he's Violator.
Like, melodramatic.
Violator also does that.
exactly. Don't you just hate it when your hookers won't shut up? It's just that's. Yeah, that's gonna be a short now, probably
Yeah,
not.
this is the
But
this is the subject matter in the book. We can't help what we have to talk about.
yeah, exactly.
Austin, I felt like there was, and this is a real minor point, but I thought there was a missed opportunity in the sixth issue when Mitch is in the trunk. The body doubles have him, and we keep seeing the dark of the trunk, and it's like first person POV. And again, remember, it's been a long time since I've read this. I thought there was maybe like a mystery and a build up to what Mitch looks like right now, because he died again right before he went in that trunk, and we don't know what power he has right now, and we have no idea what he's going to look like when he comes out of that trunk. And I thought he was going to be like a monster character or something, and then when he finally comes out of that trunk, he just looks like himself, and I was like, that's a missed opportunity.
See, because before that he gets tased, so he's talking about like, oh, I don't know what my power is now. I was like, but I don't think you died. Like, I'm pretty sure you're still
Oh, maybe
alive
he.
from the last time. But
Okay, well, that
also,
would be an
would
example
he?
of him dying too easily, just so we can give him a power, maybe.
But then I thought about it, like, but would he know? Like, is there any difference to him between being knocked out and being killed? Like, probably not.
Maybe not. Well, then
Depending on how he dies.
I might be wrong about that. I'd have to go back and look and see if he actually was supposed to die right before he's in that trunk. But I think he does have a new power when he gets out. So, because
but they also like shoot him and dump him into the lake at that point.
Yeah, is this after or before he's like the Thing? When he gets like the armor.
So he's the Thing, and then he walks away, and they tase him and throw him in the trunk. So when he was like, "Oh, I don't know what my power is," I was like, "What do you mean you're the Thing? Like you can just burst out." Because he does have a great line where he's in pitch blackness, and he's like, "What if my power is just really good eyesight right now? I wouldn't know. I'm in pitch black darkness."
That was pretty good.
He could be Bishop. He wouldn't know. There's no energy weapons yet.
Yeah, I want to know how often Resurrection Man gets a power. And I want to say this happens somewhere in the book, but I can't remember for sure. I think there's a place where he dies before he even has a chance to find out what the power was. Like the situation just doesn't present itself.
Oh, it's great. Oh, you gotta have fun with that.
That's
kind
what
of
I
stuff.
would do.
He's got like a really like perfect power for an action scene. And then he dies like right before he has to go fight someone, and now his power is that he's got like extra toes or something, something stupid.
And then I think the power he gets after he's out of the trunk is like an electro thing or another fire thing. Like we don't see it long enough to even know what exactly it is.
I think it's an electric thing because I think he zaps them. Like he jumps up, zaps them.
Oh, is that what's supposed to be happening there? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
What did you think was the coolest power set he had?
Ooh, what is the coolest power set? I mean, it's situational, but like, the empathy one would be pretty cool. The red thing one that he can just like turn on and off would be cool to have. That electric one would also be cool.
I really like the empathy one just visually because it's using the medium to its fullest, right? Like it's a thing you can only do in a comic book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, it reminded me of Onomatopoeia, the Green Arrow villain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I feel like Resurrection Man and Green Arrow is a good team up.
Yeah, that'd be cool. He's like, Green Arrow, you gotta shoot me. This power doesn't work for this. You gotta kill me, and then I'll have a better one.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like anybody he could be with that could murder him quickly would be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you could just cycle through powers. It's like, no, shoot me in the head again. This one sucks. Like I'm Jello right now. Like, give me something better. Yeah. That's a bad example because then you wouldn't have a brain to shoot, and then that would be.
I was gonna say I don't know if an arrow's killing him if he's just Jello.
He's just Jello. That's a bad example.
Green Arrow's immediately useless. Like first issue.
He's like, my hands are tires. Shoot me. I need something better.
He's jello. He's like, God, why didn't I team up with Firestorm? Why am I with a guy that just shoots arrows?
Put him with Hitman, because Hitman would have no qualms with just shooting him anytime he needed him to.
There you go. And then it can be a Vertigo book, because I think Hitman's Vertigo, isn't it? Or am I wrong about that?
No, it's not. It's
Is it
not
also
either.
just on the line?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I compared it to this, because it also does the kind of sightseeing in the DC Universe thing, like this does.
Oh, okay. I think I just assumed because that's Ennis, and I assume it gets rough, that was Vertigo.
And I'm not saying that because it's in continuity, because you're right. There are some Vertigo books that are, but it's not Vertigo.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I've started gap filling that for no real reason. I do this sometimes where, like, I'll wind up with a few issues of something from a collection that I'll decide to hang on to, maybe just because of characters that are on covers. And I'm like, I guess I'm collecting this now. So I've got like 15, 20 issues of Hitman. I've never read that.
Yeah, that's a book I'd like to check out at some point, because I like Ennis, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably pretty cool. That's one that people talk about a lot, too, because I know people are pretty hit or miss on Ennis, especially at this point.
Oh, Tyler says Hitman shows up in this. I just couldn't remember.
Oh, cool. There you go. They do team up.
See, it's right there.
Yeah, I guess he and Green Arrow do not team up, though.
Oh, Dan Schneider says Hitman. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said it is. No, it's not a Vertigo book. He says it's violent for mainstream continuity, but not as much as you'd think. I think it's more in line with this.
Oh, okay.
And just how far it'll go. Yep. There's that really bizarre panel with the guy with the. Yep. He deserves everything he gets, folks. With a grenade in his mouth. I'm so out of it, Austin. I can't think of the word grenade today.
Yeah, that's rough. You're too mesmerized by that, the way he's really pulling off that outfit. You're like, I can't even think of what that is.
That
in
messes
his
with
mouth.
your brain cells. It really does. Mm-hmm. Bob the Hun says it's a great series. Talking about Hitman. It's the only other Garth Ennis thing I like besides Punisher Max.
Cool.
Yeah, we should read that at some point.
Yeah, no, I'd love to read that at some point. I also want to read Ennis's Etrigan, but I want to read Kirby's first.
I just love that you said that while I'm on the full page spread of them going to Apocalypse. You just brought up Kirby, and then there they are at the Statue of Darkseid.
There we go.
Austin, I'm glad you enjoyed this as much as you did, because I thought this might
I know, because every time we talked about it, you were like nervous. You're like, I hope you like it, but I don't know.
I hadn't read it in 20 years. I was worried it wouldn't hold up.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, that's fair. Yeah, that is fair.
But I thought, premise-wise, it was something you'd probably dig, but I just didn't know how good the writing was going back to it.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. One of my two things that I will pick is something I haven't read since I was like 13, so there is a chance that isn't as good going back to it, but we'll see.
Oh no, we're gonna have a Hush situation here.
Hopefully not. I don't think it will be. At the very least, the art of that book is beautiful. So,
well, I'm kind of itching to finich this now, just on my own. I don't know if I'll have us review more of this, just because I don't think anybody will care. But I really want to finally finish the New 52 series, and I finished Quantum Karma, which is separate enough. Yeah. I can read that whenever, but that book is dynamite, dude. Like, I probably will have us do that at some point, because it's a 6-issue miniseries, so we can do it for the show really easily.
Hell yeah. Yeah, but I'd like to finish the series. This also exists in that same place as Vigilante, where it has exactly one trade, and it collects, the first like 10 or so issues, and nothing else is in trade.
That sucks. And again, it's only 27 issues. Plus, they did the 1 million thing, so it's 28 issues. They could easily put out an omnibus, and it wouldn't even be omnibus sized.
They could probably get it in a DC Finest, maybe in 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of those are pretty big, those new ones,
But like
and they're doing some really cool stuff in that.
it's only half the size of a compendium.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, and some of those are really big, and they're putting out some cool stuff that hasn't been in trade for a long time. Like I think they're finally getting to some of that Charlton Blue Beetle stuff as getting reprinted in one
Wow.
soon. Like they put it like a Metamorpho one I think just came out a few months ago. There's some really cool stuff that they're putting out in that line.
Bob the Hun says, as the only Resurrection Man fan, I should do my own pitch for an adaptation movie or TV show. It would be hard not to do, though, what Austin was suggesting and just kind of pitch this first arc as a short season of television. Like,
It's such just a perfect starter place. Yeah, like you could do this. I could see this as a movie or a TV show.
mm-hmm. And I could also see it, although I hesitate saying this because we usually do this like real low budget and boring and generically, but I also see this retooled as less of a superhero thing and more of a horror thing. Which isn't
I
what
think that's exactly what you would
that's
do.
not
I feel
that's
like
not what I would want to do with it. Like I would want to root it in Gunn's DC universe and actually play with the superhero stuff. But there is a version you could do with this that would stand on its own and just be more of a horror thing.
Mm. No, I mean I could see it both ways. Where like it is more of a horror thing, but it is like directly in the DCU.
Yeah.
Especially with how much we're willing to kind of mix that stuff around.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So you could definitely have your cake and eat it too with that, but it'll be with the TV DC people. So you'll get instead of the JLA, you'll meet Booster Gold.
I will say, if I was going to adapt this, sorry, you distracted me now with Booster Gold. If I was going to adapt this, I would lean tonally really heavily in a Stephen King direction.
Into what? Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, exactly. It just like cut out like right as you said that last bit.
I would lean real heavily into a Stephen King direction with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you make this like a Stephen King miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
visually, and I would probably throw back to like 80s and 90s Stephen King movies just visually. You know, I'd make it look like a Christine or a Firestarter. Or...
Yeah, exactly. Or like Carrie, or even The Shining, like any of that stuff. Like any of that stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Bob the Hun, fine. He's got a good Justice League Unlimited episode. That doesn't make him a good character. Like, I love how that's the only thing anybody can throw at me too. They're like, yeah, well, he's got a good episode of a cartoon show, and I'm like, yeah, fine. I don't want to. I don't want to read the guy in anything. So like, stop him.
Gunn is gonna come out tomorrow and be like, everybody, I'm announcing it. We're finally making a Resurrection Man TV show, but it is incredibly dependent that you have to see every season of Peacemaker and Booster Gold in order to watch it, because without them, it's complete gobbledygook. You can't follow it.
You don't even understand it. I'll be like, all right, well, luckily we have AI now. I'll just have that explain it to me. I'll just have the cliff notes, and then...
It gets like all the details wrong. So you start and you're like, what?
Bob the Hun, buddy, I've seen the episode. I know. So I was at a small comic convention over the weekend, Austin. We're gonna get going here in a minute, and I don't know if I told you about this, but I took my son Mikey with me, and Mikey's been getting real big into comics and wanting to build his own collection, and he's been buying a lot.
Oh, you did tell me, but go ahead because the audience doesn't know.
He's been buying a lot of singles, and he'll get dollar bin stuff, $2 comics. And he was buying some dollar comics, and he found this Justice League issue. Was it international or?
It was international, yeah.
Yeah, and it had Booster Gold on the cover, but with a bunch of other characters. He was like small and off to the side, and I didn't. And it's not like Mikey watches a lot of my videos or is down here when I'm shooting. So I don't know how he knew about my vendetta against Booster Gold, but he took one look at that comic and put it in his pile. And I looked over at it and I went, Mikey, why are you getting that? And I didn't say anything about Booster Gold. He just looked at me and he went, because you don't like Booster Gold.
That's gonna be one of his favorite characters, just out of spite, just to spite you.
I was like, A, how do you even know who Booster Gold is? And B, how do you know I don't like Booster Gold? He goes, Dad, you're always talking about how much you hate Booster Gold. I'm like, I don't think it comes up that much. But I couldn't believe it.
He's like, Dad, can you give me a bowl of cereal? And you're just like, God damn it, let me tell you about Booster Gold, kid. I hate him.
I was like, joke's on you. You're spending one of your precious few hard-earned dollars on a comic just to spite your dad.
It's worth more than gold. Booster Gold, if you will.
Silver and gold. Dan Schneider,
Blue and gold.
I would like to see you pitch 90s or 2000s Resurrection Man instead of a modern one, like how you would have played it back in the day. That'd be interesting. I still think all the time about.
I basically did at the beginning by saying the Incredible Hulk show, but yeah.
Yeah.
I want to. Let's hear yours.
I mean, it definitely could be like that. I mean, I could see a very Quantum Leap-ish Resurrection Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly that, or like Highway to Heaven is always what I think of for that kind of a thing.
And I think you need a quota of episodes a season where he kills himself so he gets a better power. Like, I feel like that should happen at least 3 times a season.
It's in like the Bible of the show, where it's like you have to do it at least 6 times across the season.
Mm-hmm. And you've got to have like your obligatory Jaded Lover episode every season where she kills him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
It's always a different Jaded Lover, but he keeps dating these chicks that murder him.
That's how we introduce the doubles. Is he's like, oh, another Jaded Lover, and then they're like, make it double, and the other one comes out, and then they kill him.
Yeah,
it's the weird kink episode.
I'm kind of surprised they weren't. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm surprised they weren't conceptualized as twins. Like, it's kind of interesting.
You can see it that way. When I was like, I can't tell if they're just friends or if they're like a lesbian couple. I couldn't tell offhand.
I couldn't either.
This.
I'm pretty
I could see that going either way.
I'm pretty sure they're not lesbians. Like, or at least, or it's possible like one of them is bisexual, or like one swings the other way, but the other one doesn't. I'm not sure, but because when we first meet them, they talk about hot actors and how much they want to sleep with them. So like they're established pretty heterosexual at the start, and I'm not seeing a lot of evidence that they have that kind of a relationship, except that they're just real scantily clad and kind of sexual.
Well, they specifically they remind me of like Natural Born Killers, like that kind of like killer duo thing, where they're a couple, like just kind of on the road, killing people. So it made me think of that, and I was like,
Bonnie and
Clyde, but I don't think they're actually supposed to be a couple, but like they have that energy about them, and like they're very open. So like you have that bit where one of them's in a towel, and they're like, okay, let's do this, and she like whips her towel off like right next to the other one, where I'm like, okay, they're at least very free spirited, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's part of
Abnett and Lanning are freaks, and
but I feel like that's part of the whole body double gag, is that like one of them would like physically fill in for the other, but they don't actually look like each other except in body type. So like one's a blonde, one's a brunette. They don't look anything alike in the face, but from the neck down they could double each other. And so I think that's where some of like the nude stuff comes in. And so it's maybe just kind of a joke between them. It's like we could double each other.
Mm-hmm. I like to think that they are specifically based on Abnett and Lanning, and this is entirely their working relationship. and they just drive around from hotel to hotel,
Oh, no!
writing
Stop
comics
it.
together. But this is how they act.
We always write the video out just a little too long so that Austin says that thing that makes me wish we'd already stopped 10 minutes earlier. We're at
I'm
that
just
place,
saying,
folks.
a duo wrote this duo group.
That's true. But like I said, you'd expect this to just be twins. And it's kind of interesting that they're just two girls with completely different backstories that met each other at some point. They have kind of goofy backstories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just everything about them felt like a mix between, like I said, that kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, natural born killers side, and then like a weird, like Kill Bill kind of Tarantino. It's somewhere like in the middle of there where they're like very goofy, but at the same time they're just kind of running around doing crimes together.
Oh, we didn't
They're
really.
also, I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
We didn't really talk much about that. Was that the big thing that made you think of Tarantino in the sixth issue, or was there something else?
Just everything, and like the way they talk about that event is very that where like it's got like his energy of just kind of talking about random things, but it's about like this like event thing that's happening, and then it does end up tying in. But the way it reads in scene is like, oh, that kind of natural dialogue of they're talking about just things that people would talk about, just like pop culture or whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't seen
It
enough
very
of
much
his
has that
stuff for it to
energy.
jump out at me.
For sure, for sure. Well, and this is early enough in his career that he's probably only made like 2 or 3 things.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I think this is the
Pulp
same
Fiction is
year
still
as.
real in everybody's minds at this point.
Yeah. So like the Kill Bill kind of side of it you wouldn't have, but there is some of that in Pulp Fiction, like in terms of the kind of over the topness.
Yeah.
But like this would be like the same year I think as Jackie Brown, so like he's only on his 3rd movie at this point.
Well, in closing, I'll just say that despite the fact that I haven't read this in a long time and I didn't remember a ton about it, I feel very vindicated in continuing to be the only self-proclaimed Resurrection Man fan.
Yeah, no, you done good.
But I've converted Austin. Now Austin likes
Exactly.
Resurrection Man.
No, Resurrection Man's really cool. I'm excited to read more of this.
But are you with me? It's not just the concept, like the character is interesting.
Mm. No, just like everything about it. Like I thought the story was really cool. All the side characters were interesting. The like weird details that they threw in, like added a lot more life to it.
Yeah. Real quick, I just thought of this. One thing I will complain about is, as much as it kind of dates the book, I wish we kept with the long hair.
Oh, okay.
I just like that look with the hat. Like I always think of that as the iconic Resurrection Man look, and then I'm like, oh, he cuts it in the 2nd issue. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Maybe he grows it back again later. I don't remember.
Speaking of dated, though, we have to mention the greatest caption box in this entire series
Yes,
that we got. Which
yes, we do.
We have to explain what GPS means.
So the body doubles have got a laptop, this big laptop with a map on it, and they're connected up to very, very early GPS. And I was like, oh look, it's GPS. And then 4 pages later, one of them says GPS, and then there's an asterisk at the bottom of the page that explains what GPS means. Because it's that early. It was like global positioning satellite, and then I had a split second where I went, "Oh yeah, that's right. That is what that means."
Yeah, I had that too. Where I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess that's what GPS means." Like at this point, we just know, but you don't necessarily have to know what it stands for.
I knew that, but I don't think about it regularly.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
what's like ATM? Like, how often are people thinking about what ATM actually stands for at this point?
Yeah. Well, I don't think they did early on either, or a lot more people would be complaining about the fact that you're saying machine twice.
We're used to that.
Austin, do you want to reveal what you're going to pick for next week?
Okay, I'll throw out both of them because I think
because you haven't decided yet.
I think how I'm going to play it is it'll depend on if we can fit in both before Halloween.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
Sure.
So the one that I came up with today that I was like, oh, I should get this in because we read this and it's the exact period and I think would be interesting is the first few issues of Thunderbolts.
Oh, sure.
And the other one is the first Dark Horse AVP mini.
Oh, yeah.
So either
Those are,
way, I'm gonna fit both of those in, but we'll see closer to next time
yeah,
which
those are
one I
both
actually
great
do.
choices.
Yeah, both of them I'd be interested to do. So
I'm pretty sure. So you're saying like the original AVP?
yes, yeah, the original
I'm
one.
pretty sure I've read that. But
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
cool.
it's been a million years, and I don't know if I read all of it. I can't remember. That's
Mhm.
black and white. I'm pretty sure.
No,
Is it not? Oh,
unless
I'm thinking of
unless it was
something else.
originally printed in black and white, but I don't think it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, so it might be something else. Or you read like a black and white version of it. Like I
maybe
could see that
so.
happening.
I was gonna say this book would have looked really good in black and white.
Yes, yes, and it's like atmospheric enough that I think that would have worked.
We didn't really talk about the art. Like, do you like what this book looks like?
Yeah, I think it's got this weird thing where I can tell exactly when it came out, but at the same time, it's like this weird thing where like I can see the kind of Liefeld Jim Lee influence on it, but at the same time, I really like this artwork. While I typically don't like a lot of late '90s artwork, or just I guess '90s, mid to late '90s artwork, but it hits like a weird middle ground where it wins me over on that.
Yeah, same
Uh,
here. Butch Geis, and I don't know him from anything else. I would be shocked if he didn't draw some Batman around this period. Like if he didn't do an issue or two of No Man's Land, that would really surprise me.
yeah, for
His
sure,
art
for
looks like
sure.
some stuff in there, which is like, of course, super hit and miss. Um, I I think this art is like correct for this material. I don't like the lack of backgrounds.
For sure.
There's a lot of that.
When I was thinking of, and he's worse for this before this, but that kind of like Ultimate Spider-Man era Bagley, where it's like I can tell that
Yeah.
he's a late '90s guy, but it's also way better than a lot of that stuff. While I find late '90s Bagley doesn't always work for me because it's too much of that period.
One thing that I thought was neat, where he's going above and beyond, is some of the flashback stuff when Mitch is like really honing in on a memory and it's crystallized. Is intentionally more detailed and pencily and almost photorealistic, and I thought that was a really good choice.
Yeah, it almost reminded me of like a Silent Hill type thing. The way the colors kind of wash out, and it gets very pencily, like you said. Like it's got almost like a detailed roughness,
Hmm.
where like it looks grainy in a way too. At the same time,
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah. No, it's a really cool effect to kind of show this is in his mind.
Yeah, it's really thoughtful stuff like that. Well, anyway, we're still
Hmm.
reviewing this book. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We sure appreciate it. And next week, we'll see which of those two books Austin ends up gracing us with. But I'm excited to check out both of those. And to see if
Yeah,
I've actually read
absolutely.
that AVP book before, because it's been so long, it could have been a different one. I'm not sure.
Well, that's a book I'm
It's
interested to
early.
go back
Whatever I
to.
read was like late 80s, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's early.
Oh,
But,
okay. Yeah. That's what I'm interested to go back to because I went on my grade 8 trip and I brought two books with me. I brought that miniseries and the novelization of it, not realizing they were the same book. So I read the novel and then started the comic, and I was like, weird, this is the same opening.
I've read this.
Oh, this is the same book.
That's so good. I said late 80s. Is it that early or is it even later than that? I'm wrong.
Oh, I think it's late 80s. I want to say it's like 89.
Not 90.
90, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
no, the that actual series was 91 and then the first appearance of them together is in a Dark Horse Presents in 90.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm seeing at first glance here anyway.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Well, because I think now that I think about it, Predator 2 is probably 89, and it would have to be after that.
Oh, you're
I
right. This
think.
is in color.
Or no, because the first one's like 88. Okay, I don't know. My dates are like all over the place now. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Unless the uh, unless the pages I'm seeing on this wiki are like recolored and it was originally printed in black and white, but this is all color. What I'm
Mhm.
seeing. So I don't know what the hell I
Yeah,
read, but I thought it was.
and
I thought the
I'll
thing I read was black and white.
and when we do it, I'll bring it. One of the last things Dark Horse put out was that in like this really big, nice trade, and I'll show it off when we get there. But it's really cool. It's got gold pages. I also thought it was just a good time to do that because you have an Alien TV show on right now, and the next Predator movie's in November.
Yeah,
So
I want to watch that.
it's good so far.
Dan Schneider found another super chat. For Halloween, you should do James Gunn Dawn of the Dead commentary or just review something Snyder and Gunn both made. We have a plan for October. We haven't revealed exactly what we're doing yet. That movie could be in there if one of us picked it, but I don't know that
Well,
that will happen.
I think we did reveal it at the end of
We
DCU
did not.
Mania, but
Oh, maybe
did we
we
not?
did. I thought we
I'm pretty
just
sure we revealed it at the end, but it
okay.
was the end of Aquaman 2 and nobody cares.
Nobody
So probably
cares.
no one's.
Well, this is Resurrection, man. Nobody's gonna look at this either.
So we can reveal it here
We
and
can
still
reveal it
people
here
will be
too.
like, what are you doing in Halloween?
We're gonna do a 2 week mania where Austin and I go back and forth and pick different horror movies or just Halloween related films. So it's kind of potpourri. It's kind of anything goes. But we are going to do it as a mania. So we're going to swipe away the normal slate and do exactly what we did with DCEU Mania, where we'll do 10 of them, and it'll be except we're not going to have any double features like we did with that. They'll all be singular movies because we don't have to do 16. We could just do 10, and so it'll be Monday through Friday for 2 weeks leading up to Halloween. I think it was the plan.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
I
And
know
I
at
think
least a couple of my movies, but I'm not sure what exactly. So that's what I mean. We haven't picked everything yet. So like, if Austin really wanted to do Dawn of the Dead, but I've never seen that, that wouldn't be one of my picks.
that's not going to be on my list, but maybe someday we
We're
can do
sorry,
that.
Dan Schneider, but we appreciate the super chat.
The only one I have 100% locked in is Christine. I've got like a list of a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to kind of swipe them off as we get closer to. But I'm excited. I think it's
I'm
going to be a
sorry, I
ton of
missed the
fun.
start of that. Did you say? Did you reveal one of them, or did you just say you've only got one that you've liked? I don't even know if you said the title of something.
Oh, I did reveal one, but I revealed it when we said it at the end of
Oh, okay,
DCU Mania, so it wasn't like a new one, which was is Christine.
okay.
Christine 100% is going to be on my 5. Um, that won't change, but
Let me see if I can throw out one that I'm for sure about because I haven't actually written anything down. I had a couple that I was thinking I would likely do. So I'll say I will almost certainly do what is that movie? My brain's not working right now. The Ring. I will almost certainly pick The
you did
Ring.
mention The Ring to me.
Yeah.
You were like, I 100%. Well, we've been talking about doing a commentary on that for years at this point.
And I haven't seen it in
So
a
it
really
makes
long
sense.
time.
I just rewatched it like 2 months ago. I got the 4K for Christmas, so
Dan Schneider, I really want to get your read on it, given how you feel about James Gunn and Zack Snyder. Yeah, maybe someday it would. I gotta be honest, like not begging for cash, nothing. It would probably take a request, because like I just wouldn't think to sit down and watch that without
yeah,
somebody
I
making me
know
do
I've
it.
seen that, but like I'm just not like enough of a zombie guy. Like it's not something I've gone back to.
Well, and I love zombie stuff,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I haven't heard great things about that. Like that movie just didn't sound super exciting to me. But
It's a movie people are divisive on. Like I know a lot of people that really love it, and then a lot of people who were like, "No, that n- that's not my thing."
Bob the Hun Cap will have to watch it twice to decide if he likes it or not, following the James Gunn tradition. Well, Gunn didn't direct it,
Gotta
right?
watch it at least 4 times.
No, but he didn't direct it. He wrote it.
No, but you did still say that about the specials, which is something he just wrote.
Ah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You also have to watch Scooby Doo 4 times.
I've had to watch so many gun things 4 times. I'm actually really curious to see what my feelings on Superman will be after 4 times because I watched it twice and really liked it. But I will tell you, I told Austin after my first watch, like I liked it, but after a couple of days thinking about it, I wasn't totally sure where I was landing, and I needed another viewing. Like even with that, I was not totally sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There were some conversations we had off camera where I was like, "Oh, Cap's like kind of turning on this a little bit," and
I
then
started to, and then I saw it
saw
again,
it
and
a
I was
second
like,
time.
"Nah, it solidified after another viewing."
And then you slowly will turn on it, and then a third time, and then slowly, and the fourth time,
No, I don't
and
think
then you're locked in.
that's not gonna happen. We're gonna get going. Thanks for watching, everybody. We sure appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow night with Comic Book Late Night. I hope to see some of you guys there for that, and we'll see Austin a little bit later in the week. We're gonna do a rewind on Friday on Supergirl. I'm sure people are just chomping at the bit for that. And then
Exactly.
the next week we're gonna have a real big movie for our 50th rewind commentary.
Which is why the next week won't be my comic thing as well.
Oh, that's true.
So that's why part of why I'm like not sure. If it were just next week, I would just go ahead and do Thunderbolts, but we'll see because things can change. You never know.
I'm sorry about that. I wasn't thinking.
Oh, I don't care. That's a big one. People are gonna care more about that than either of
No,
my
that's
two.
gonna be a big week. People might show up for that. I love that we're doing Resurrection Man, and then like one of the biggest things ever, and it's also DC.
We just can't get away from it.
You know what? Bob the Hun and other people keep calling what it is, but I'm gonna keep not officially announcing it yet because I just think it's funny that like people have already guessed it, and I'm still gonna talk about it like a big surprise mystery, Austin.
And then we're gonna throw a loop at you guys when we finally do reveal it, and it's not that thing.
Yeah, take that.
That's when you guys have to be like, oh man, they were actually doing Howard the Duck and the comic novelization. Gosh darn it, how didn't we guess that one?
Yeah, just a giant important tentpole that everyone will show up for, unlike Resurrection Man.
I think we've already done it on Rewind.
Howard the Duck? No, we haven't.
Or have we not?
Huh.
Have we not? Okay.
We haven't.
I had a brain fire. I'm like, I feel like I think I watch partied it with people, so I think that's
but not
why
with me. You and I have never watched that together.
Okay,
there we go. I've been looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
We also quote it so often that I just assume we've watched it together like multiple times.
No, I'm making fun of the smallness and my weird obsession with Resurrection Man, but I do appreciate you guys for being here tonight. We had some viewers. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Exactly.
We're actually leaving now. I appreciate you guys. See you soon. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin the Day Ghost.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, folks.